if you want to sort of see like a vision of the future, it's like basically the top 20 and or even the top 100 is like totally dominated by China. It's
really?
Insane. Yeah, there's like China and a little bit of Korea and Taiwan.
So are you in the top 20 in the world or top 20? Wow, in Diablo.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody your handle? No, don't tell them. Don't tell them. It's not worth it.
Well, they actually listed me with my actual name in the list.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's only 2 Americans in the top 20. The rest, almost everyone is from Asia. Otherwise,
we were talking about something that I think is a really good, because people always think that video games are frivolous. But what you were saying, I think that's really important, is it's so difficult that it requires you to only think about that, and it can like relieve stress.
Yeah,
it can take out the rest of the world because it's so hard.
Yeah,
you can only think about that.
Yeah, I mean, if I play a video game on extreme difficulty, then I have to concentrate fully on the game. And it has a calming effect.
Yeah.
It sort of chills down. I mean, you mentioned, I think, and many people like if you play martial arts or you play pool, like something that forces you. It's like I think anything that forces you to concentrate fully actually has a calming effect. I find it just sort of like. Kind of a restoring effect. Mentally.
Yeah,
it's good.
Jiu-jitsu's like that.
Yeah.
Archery's like that as well.
Yeah.
Like when you're shooting a bow, you have to. There's so many moving things, and you have to think only of it, and it cleans the mind.
It cleans the mind. Yeah, exactly.
I was reading this study about surgeons, where they found that surgeons who regularly play video games make less errors.
Well, I mean, video games require manual dexterity, so it makes sense.
Completely makes sense.
Actually, if somebody was like epic at video games, I'd say like their surgical skills can be very good, because in order to be good at video games, any kind of fast reaction video games.
Look at this: 32% fewer errors, 24% faster, and scored 26% better overall than their non-player colleagues.
Oh, I believe that for sure.
Incredible.
Well,
like that, you should be required in medical school to play video games. Don't you think?
If somebody's like a top-ranked video game player and they say they're a surgeon, I'd be like plus 1, plus 2 type of thing.
Oh, top rank for sure. Well, but this isn't even top rank. This is just people who play.
Well, your manual dexterity has to be extremely high.
Yes.
So you're looking at things on a screen. You're reacting, and sometimes you got like 10 milliseconds to react.
Yes.
And so if somebody's got incredible reaction times and manual dexterity, they're obviously going to be a good surgeon.
Imagine if there was a course that you could take. That course would promote. You would be 26% better.
Yeah.
Everyone would have to take that course.
Sure.
Why would you want a surgeon that's less prepared? You would say, hey, Bob, did you take this course? You didn't take this course. Don't you understand this course makes you 26% better?
Sure.
You would have to take it. Everyone should have to play video games if you want to be a surgeon.
Well, I think it certainly would be a very good test to see if somebody can't play video games well. Like that means, because you got to move both hands simultaneously.
Right.
You got to react to something very fast, then on the screen. So, and if your keystrokes or your mouse clicks or whatever are wrong, then you lose the game.
Right.
So, if somebody's has a good rank in video games, I would say that their manual dexterity must be extremely good.
Well, it's so hard.
Their fine motor skills have to be excellent.
If you think about like StarCraft or any game like Quake, any game where a lot of people are playing, to rise to the top, you have to be exceptional, period, as a human being.
Yeah.
There has to be something exceptional about you.
Yeah. Actually, if I mention Quake, way back in the day, I was one of the world's best Quake players.
I know we talked about this.
Yeah.
I loved Quake.
Yeah. I mean, my final semester in college, I probably put more time into Quake than all my college classes.
When I was on news radio, all of the writers were super nerds. They were very, very fun guys, and they had a LAN set up at the studio where they all played Quake. I had never played video games, and I would go in with the writers and just kind of hang out with them. We'd get silly, and then we would all start playing video games and playing Quake against each other, and I got addicted, like hardcore. I got a T1 line installed in my house. I went hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. Checking how many milliseconds of latency.
Oh yeah, I was fully addicted. I was making my own computers. I was going to Fry's Hardware and buying motherboards and putting everything together. And it was too much of a time suck, though. Yeah. I'm an obsessive person. I can't get involved. Like I can't play golf.
No, golf is too slow for me. I mean, I know a lot of people find golf good, and I mean, I guess if you think of it I guess if you're saying you're going to walk outdoors with friends and occasionally hit a ball, then and you just as an outdoor walk, then that's cool. And it does require concentration when you're hitting the ball, but it's too slow for me.
Nothing compares to video games in terms of like the amount of feedback you get, like the sensory overload you get when you're looking at a large, high resolution screen. You have a fast computer. You have headphones on. That you're hearing sounds from here and sounds behind you, and rockets are flying by you. And there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I think golf still is like Jamie will tell you. Jamie's an addict. He's a golf nut. It's super addictive, and it takes 8 hours a day.
It's once you get into golf, I guess any sport it gets super addictive. But for me the intensity of video games is hard to beat.
Yes, people dismiss it because they think it's just a waste of time. But we're showing like real world benefits of people playing video games.
Yeah.
If you want to be a drone operator, it's the only game in town.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You have to get really good at video games.
Yeah, for sure. So, in fact, I can actually tell like what my mental acuity is if I play a very hard video game. So if I'm trying to sort of get like an extremely good clear time in Diablo or something like that. Or any, a first-person shooter, whatever the case may be. Like if I can tell that I'm tired, or my brain's not working as well as it should. It's like a mental calibration. You can tell immediately, like how good is your mental state?
Right, right.
So it's like if you're trying to play really well, like if you play late at night and you're tired, you just play badly.
Right.
And you can say, okay. You may think that your brain is working well, but it isn't. Because you play the video game and you're like, you suck. So okay.
Yeah, you're putting it under stress. Yeah. You're really stress testing it.
You stress test it, and because like sometimes like I think I'm fine, but then you play the game like okay I'm not. I'm like 10% below what I should be.
That's how I feel about workouts for sure. Like that's how I knew I had COVID, or I knew everyone in my family had COVID, and I was trying to not get COVID, and so I was working out. I was like something's up. Like I felt fine normally, but then during exercise, I was like, okay, I can tell there's something wrong here. So let's just back off, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like people who don't stress test their mind. They think they're operating on the same level all the time. Like sometimes I come in here and I can't form a fucking sentence, and I don't know what it is. It's like, what is going on? So it's just like
sleep's not. Maybe it's like sleep wasn't that good or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Or I'm too busy, and it's not. The words aren't coming out. Like I know how to talk. I talk professionally, and I can't fucking talk. It's like
I mean, sleep is massive. I mean,
huge.
So if I can tell immediately, did I get a good night's sleep or not? If I just play like a video game for like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, my sleep wasn't that good because it's my and then sometimes your brain will recover through the day, and it's like, okay, like an hour or two after waking up, it's better.
Yeah.
Because your brain does kind of recover from bad nights of sleep a little bit.
Do you know what really helps? Creatine, apparently.
Does it?
Yeah, creatine is actually a nootropic, believe it or not. There's a lot of like benefits of creatine that are really weird.
Are there any downsides?
No, it's a natural part of food. Yeah, especially women. For women, apparently, especially postmenopausal women, it's very beneficial.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like cognitive benefits, and one of the big ones that they found recently is performance when sleep deprived. Mental performance when sleep deprived increases pretty measurably when you supplement with creatine.
Is creatine naturally occurring in like steak or?
Yeah, it's like naturally occurring in meat, I think. I think that's where it's coming from. I think it's primarily an animal-based thing. Yeah, but
like I did switch to like steak and eggs for breakfast, and I found that's like a power-up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're all overrun with carbohydrates.
Yeah, totally.
And you just, like carbohydrates make this big crash, the rise and the crash, totally. The rise and the crash. You stay flat if you eat like a primarily high protein, high fat diet.
Yeah.
Your body runs off ketosis, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I just have like steak and eggs, no bread or anything.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
It's great, actually. It's a power-up, I'd say.
People dismiss this whole carnivore diet thing because in our heads, there's a lot of propagandists that put this thing out there that animal agriculture is the #1 contributor to global warming.
Yeah, it's rubbish. It's
bullshit.
Not true. Bullshit.
It's hot bullshit.
It doesn't matter.
Not only is it hot bullshit,
Irrelevant.
but the real problem is factory farming. Regenerative farming is carbon neutral if it doesn't sequester carbon.
The animals are not going to make any difference to global warming. Like none.
No, it's
zero.
horseshit.
Zippo, zero, nothing.
Do you think that that's just propaganda because of people that have a vested interest in like plant-based meat products and things along those lines, green energy?
I think it's part of it. You know, you're generally going to get people pushing to avoid meat. Like some people just, you know, maybe they've got a financial interest. Maybe they're just like vegetarians or vegans or whatever.
Ideological interest.
Ideological reasons. But it's not going to make any difference to global warming or, you know, the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere, really, if people eat fewer steaks. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Irrelevant. I want to just be super clear about that.
Yeah.
Will not matter. You will not even be able to measure it, okay? That's how irrelevant it is.
Isn't it funny that that's
unmeasurable,
that's
irrelevant.
A heretic speaking? Like, that's crazy talk now. Nowadays, it's like you have to say that we have to eat less meat.
No,
that meat is bad.
You can totally eat as much meat as you want. It's not going to make a difference.
Sing it. Sing it. Tell the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And if somebody says it does make a difference, I'm like, how will you measure it? And if you can't even measure it, then it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I won't be able to measure it.
Well, there's so much bullshit out there. First of all,
it's bullshit in all directions.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter. Thank
welcome.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. I really do. I really think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control. What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like what they were doing with the laptop story, where you have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation, take it offline, and Twitter complied.
Yeah.
If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly. No, it's. I mean, the reason I bought it was because I'm pretty attuned since I was like the most interacted with user on Twitter before the acquisition. So before the acquisition, I had more interactions than like there's some accounts like Obama and whatever had higher follow accounts, but I had the most number of interactions of any account in the system. So I was very attuned to like if they change the system, I can tell immediately. Like, and I'm like, something weird is going on here, you know? Like, so there's like, I just got increasingly uneasy. And obviously when they deplatformed a sitting president, you know, not deplatformed Trump, that was just insane. You know, and the things he was posting, like he was posting things that like he was posting good things. He was saying like, hey, do not riot, don't do any destruction of property, you know, please stay calm. Like that's the kind of stuff he was posting. Yeah. And you're like, what's wrong with that? That's and then some people said like, oh, that's like some sort of dog whistle. He means the opposite. I'm like, okay, so we'll give you Trump's account. Now you post what you think you should post because you can post nothing. You can ask people to calm down. Like what? It was insane. Like it didn't make any sense.
Well, it's completely illogical when you say it's dog whistling to tell his followers to not be violent. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Don't you think they'll listen to him?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point? They listened to him and created violence in the first place? That's what you think. That's what you're accusing him of.
Right.
And then there's the fact that we know that there was agents in the crowd that were agent provocateurs that were encouraging people to do illegal shit.
Yes.
We know that for a fact. This is not that. It was always the big Alex Jones type tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, because Alex proposed that back at the World Trade Organization protests. I believe we're in Seattle in the 90s. And they sent in agent provocateurs, started smashing things, lighting things on fire. Now all of a sudden a peaceful protest is no longer peaceful. Right. They move in the cops. They shut everything down. They had it set up where it was a no protest zone where you couldn't even have a pin that had the WTO with a red line through it. They wouldn't let you go in through to go to work. So you couldn't protest. You couldn't exercise your First Amendment rights. You couldn't even like have a peaceful protest, a fucking sticker on your car. You couldn't have that. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So no, I think we're very much at a fork in the road in destiny, and you know, I mean the reason I did the Twitter acquisition was like it's like, man, if I don't do this, I think we're screwed. Is the issue.
Well, if you didn't do it, no one else was going to do it because it wasn't a financial winner. It was kind of a crazy move.
It's a crazy move. I mean, the thing was way overpriced, and like long term, I think we can ultimately make it a win for investors. But boy, this is a hard way to make a living.
Well, there's also a concerted effort to suppress it. There's a concerted effort with the advertisers.
Well, we had and still have a massive advertiser boycott that was organized by a bunch of left-wing NGOs. Like and you always want. And I should have brought my. I have a hat. Make Orwell fiction again.
I've seen that hat.
Yeah, I should have brought. I was going to wear my. I should have brought my Make Orwell fiction hat again. But yeah, I mean, it's just totally nuts. So.
If you didn't do it, no one would have. And here's the hilarious narrative that I keep hearing from idiots. Elon's a bad businessman. Twitter is worth, 400% less than when he bought it. No, it wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth that in the first place.
It wasn't worth $44 billion, you fucking morons.
Yes.
Like, wrong. And also, you're not taking into account the advertiser boycott.
Exactly.
That's total bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So there are these organizations, like you can tell there's they're like when they have an Orwellian name. So like the Center for Countering Digital Hate is a total scam organization, because they're like the Ministry of Truth type of thing in Orwell. They're a censorship organization.
Yeah.
And they organize and they pushed the advertisers to boycott. So we still have some of the boycott is starting to lift, and I think if Trump wins, we'll see probably. Most of the boycott lift, but if Kamala wins, we'll see that boycott get stronger, and they'll friggin' shut down. There's no way that the sort of Kamala puppet regime would allow X to exist.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a pathway to that?
Yes.
What would they do?
Well, I mean, they can stick the DOJ on and say they've had this whole thing about hate speech, misinformation, whatever, except that they're the ones pushing the misinformation. But that doesn't stop them from filing massive, lawsuits and using the DOJ. I mean, the DOJ has, been attacking SpaceX, for example, for not hiring asylum seekers, even though it is legal for SpaceX to hire anyone who is not a permanent resident of the U.S. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. There's just an example of what DOJ can do.
So it's illegal to hire someone who's not an American citizen.
What SpaceX is considered an advanced weapons technology, so it's covered by international traffic and arms regulations because we make rocket technology that can be used against the United States. So, if North Korea or Iran got SpaceX rocket technology, they could use that to launch nukes at America.
Right.
That would be bad.
Yeah, that'd be really bad.
That'd be really bad. So we're since we are in the most extreme category of weapons technology at SpaceX, under U.S. ITAR law, it is illegal for us to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident, because the presumption is that if they're not a permanent resident, they're going to return to their home country and take the rocket technology with them. So so it's illegal for us to hire anyone who's not not a permanent. They can have a green card or be a citizen. They just have to be a permanent resident of the United States. Then there's another law that says if you discriminate against asylum seekers, you're also breaking the law. So the DOJ can only do a small number of big lawsuits every year. They launched a giant lawsuit against SpaceX, saying that SpaceX discriminated against asylum seekers. And we're like, but it's illegal for us to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident. So we're in this this is what I mean. It's the Orwell situation is getting insane. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So you're damned.
Can you imagine history looking back?
Fucked up, man.
At when you watch the robot arms catch the rocket, and you realize this is one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of aerospace. It is one of the most wildest accomplishments. Yeah. When you watch that thing come and you see all those people cheering and it catches it perfectly, holy shit. Imagine how history is going to look back at the DOJ going after that company.
Yeah.
How insane it is.
Big lawsuit with an army of lawyers. This was not some minor thing.
But it doesn't even make any sense logically. How could it even get brought to court if it's illegal?
That's exactly. So that's what I mean. Basically, if the government wants to go after you, they'll just find a reason. It's like that famous quote from Beria. Like Stalin's like chief torturer, the head of Stalin's secret police, and he's like chief torturer, truly evil human being, like this guy Beria. His one of his famous quotes was, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
Right.
They decide that you're the target, and then they figure out the crime afterwards. That's the issue. They decided SpaceX was the target. They just figured out the crime afterwards.
Which is so crazy because that's exactly what they're saying Trump is going to do if he gets into office.
They're doing all the things that they accused Trump of doing.
Yeah. Openly. Yeah.
I mean, the sheer number of hoaxes that the Democratic Party is pushing over and over again. And it's like, look, I understand like politicians are going to, exaggerate. They're going to misspeak, and they'll tell occasional, untruths, whatever. That's how it is in politics. But when you have deliberate, concerted, repeated pushing of hoaxes, you're like, wait a second, like, come on, man, this is too far.
And you're supposed to be the good guys.
You're supposed to, and you claim to be the good guys? I'm like, exactly.
You're supposed to be the progressives.
Yes, the Dems are like, oh, we're the good guys. We're the honest people. No, hang on. You can't claim to be the good guys. You can't claim to be the honest people. If you're deliberately pushing hoaxes that have been debunked thoroughly.
Yeah.
Well, we're like even Snopes, which is a liberal thing, says it's bogus.
Yeah.
Like the Fine People hoax.
Obama just said that on stage.
Obama just said that. I was like, what the flying fuck?
He doesn't give a fuck. They're just
That's a flat out goddamn fucking lie.
Flat out lie.
Flat out fucking lie.
How about the other one where Kamala's campaign used what Trump was saying about protecting women and from illegal immigrants?
Thank you.
You remember that? What he was saying is, if the women like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
When he was saying that, they were trying to say that he was taking away women's right to choose whether women like it or not. Like, that's not what he was saying.
Absolutely.
He was literally talking about protecting them from dangerous people that are sneaking in through the border.
Yes, exactly. They'll take like not even a full sentence, like a half a sentence from Trump, and then they'll push it on every ad, every speaking event, every
and it gets
media.
repeated on the news.
Yes.
This is what's crazy. They'll talk about it on these news shows, news shows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a recent one that came up, which had a lot of people, because a lot of people reached out to me, was like, they're like, oh, Trump says he wants to execute Liz Cheney. I'm like, that is utter bullshit.
It's not what he said at all.
It's not what he said at all. He all he said was like, what he's saying is that, look, if Liz Cheney actually had to fight at the front lines, she'd think twice about going to war.
Exactly.
It's easy to go to war. It's easy to be a warmonger if you don't have to, risk dying at the front lines. Basically, it's fucked up if people are having like fancy dinners in Washington D.C. While people are being slaughtered in trenches. It's like you're not feeling the pain.
Exactly.
You're not taking the risk. It's someone else dying.
Exactly.
That's cruel and lacking in empathy. And all Trump was saying was that it's like Liz Cheney would be much less of a warmonger, because she's a huge warmonger, just like her dad, if she actually had to go to the front lines and fight herself.
And meanwhile, they're saying that he's saying she should be shot.
Yes, which is a total lie. But I had like tons of people call me this weekend saying, "Oh, Trump says he's going to put Liz Cheney in a firing squad." I'm like, that is an outrageous lie. And the legacy media ran with that lie, big time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just wild to see. And if it wasn't for Twitter or X now, I don't think we would know about all this stuff. I think it would be very difficult for you. I think YouTube throttled. They did something weird. They won't say what they did, but they did something weird with the Trump interview that I did.
Yeah,
where you couldn't find it.
It doesn't make sense.
It made no sense.
I mean, it was like the biggest interview on earth.
Yeah,
and you can't find it.
Yeah. Not only that, it wasn't trending.
Bullshit.
It wasn't trending.
It wasn't trending.
No, it wasn't trending.
You're like, there's just no excuse for that, man.
No excuse.
There's no excuse.
It was getting 1 million views. 1.4 an hour at one point in time? 1.5 an hour.
Yeah.
And it wasn't trending.
Yeah. And it's like your channel is a known channel. It's not like it was started yesterday. It's like
yeah.
It's like this is a high trust. Yours is a high trust channel. It's like you're not trying to scam crypto coins or something,
well, thank God we put it on X as well.
Yeah.
Because I think just with your account and my account alone, it's like 70 million views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like you can't hide things anymore because of you. And if it wasn't for you, I think they would have had total control of social media by now.
Yeah.
They would have they banned so many accounts during the pandemic, so many dissenting scientists and doctors and physicians. They banned so many conspiracy theorists, so many people that colored outside the lines. They would have done that everywhere, and it probably would have. I think even at what's going on at Facebook, they're being more lenient. You know, you hear Zuckerberg talking about taking a more libertarian stance. That's entirely reaction to the way Twitter has kind of moved the watermark.
Exactly. So, as soon as any company steps out of line and is willing to actually have the truth debated on their platform, it forces the other platforms to allow things to be more truthful, to not censor, because their censorship becomes glaringly obvious.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, the best thing I found as a rebuttal, like if there's a hoax, is just go to the source material. You know, if somebody thinks Trump said that we should put Liz Cheney in a firing squad, I'm like, let me send you a link to X so you can watch his video. That's the best way.
Yes.
Don't take my opinion for it. Don't take anyone's opinion for it. Go to the source material.
And community notes.
Yes, and community notes.
Community notes
awesome.
is the best.
It's awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets checked.
Yes, including me.
Yeah.
And with community notes, all the software is open source and all the data is open source. So you can recreate any given note independently.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
It's total, absolute transparency in every way. Sometimes I get asked like, "Oh, Elon, can you remove a note?" Mostly by the left, but sometimes by the right. I'm like, I don't even remove notes on my own account. Nothing. And by the way, everything is totally open. So if I did that, it would stick out like a sore thumb. Immediately. Like it's not going to be subtle.
That is the best counter to misinformation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like let everybody look at it and say, okay, here's what the actual facts say.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The counter to misinformation is better information.
Not just that, but having it checked in real time by the community. So you have millions of people that can go over it and debate whether or not this is true or that's true.
Yes, and like I said, like the best way to understand the truth of things is don't take anyone's opinion for it. Look at the source material. It's like look at what someone actually said. Look at what someone actually did. Look at the real videos of the situation, and then you'll know what's real.
So, as of today, when you were literally on your way here, you sent me this text saying that they're trying to lock you up in jail in Pennsylvania. Tell me what the fuck is happening.
Well, there's the classic sort of Soros DA situation. So we're making a lot of progress in Pennsylvania. So I've given a whole bunch of talks throughout the state because Pennsylvania is the linchpin in this election. Whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. So I've been giving talks. And I spent 3 years in Pennsylvania. I went to college in Philadelphia. So it's not like I'm not a total stranger to the state. I spent 3 years there. And we've organized this petition in support of the Constitution, which I think is a good thing, and specifically asking people to, and we wanted this to be like registered voters in swing states. Like basically, we want to send a message to the politicians to say that the people care about the Constitution because there've been all these attacks on the Constitution. They've been, especially on the Democrat side, they've been repeatedly saying that the First Amendment is an obstacle, and they're claiming, the First Amendment is enabling disinformation, misinformation. And I'm like, there's a reason for the First Amendment, like freedom of speech. The reason the founders of the country put the freedom of speech there is because they came from countries where if you spoke your mind, you would get shot or imprisoned. That's why the First Amendment exists. And the Second Amendment is there to stop the tyranny of government. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is there to protect freedom of speech. And I've had these debates, especially with people in LA, because they're like, want to take everyone's guns away. And I'm like, can you guarantee me that that we will never have a tyrannical government in the United States? Can you make that guarantee? But like, well, nobody can make that guarantee. I'm like, then we need to keep our guns, because that's what's going to stop it.
That sounds crazy for people to hear because they think about gun violence and gun problems and gun this and gun that. But that's the reality of the world that we live in, is that tyranny is possible and it exists other places, and it's slowly existing. It's slowly rearing its head in the UK. You're seeing, I think the number of people that have been arrested for just social media posts is bananas. It's in the thousands.
Yes, several thousand people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence, but they just said it encouraged violence. We're like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no. But they just and then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted pedophiles and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. There's an actual thing happening in Britain.
That is so wild.
Like you're like,
it's so wild that people can't see that.
What the fuck, is going on?
And what's insane to me
Make
is
Orwell fiction again.
Yeah. But it's all being encouraged by the left. Ketanji Brown Jackson, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton.
John Kerry was one of the people who said that he's on camera like a few weeks ago saying that the First Amendment is an obstacle to fighting misinformation.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's such a crazy thing to say when you have a solution in community notes.
Yes,
you have a solution in something like that could clear everything up, any confusion within a day or two.
And even without a community note, you can reply to a post and with evidence that shows that the post is wrong. You don't even need community notes. I mean, community notes is helpful because it sticks to the original note.
Yes.
But in the replies, you can say, here's why you're wrong, here are the reasons, and here's the evidence.
But the argument is that people are too unsophisticated, that they're not going to research these things. They're going to be a victim of misinformation. So they're going to read something that's incorrect. They're going to run with it. People are going to die. We're going to ruin the world because people believed in misinformation. It's a stupid argument.
It's a stupid argument.
Because it's an argument that they're too dumb to know what's right or wrong. Well, if you know, because you're saying it's misinformation, why do you think that you're smarter than everybody who reads that?
Exactly. And obviously anyone on the X system knows that things are posted and then there are replies and there are rebuttals and it's immediately corrected. But where are the corrections for the legacy media?
Right.
If some broadcast media, they say false things all the time, but it's a one-way street. There's no rebuttal. There's no counter.
Right. Right. Who's apologized for being incorrect about what? Did Rachel Maddow ever apologize for telling everybody that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're never going to get COVID? It won't. The virus stops with you.
No, never.
Never. Yeah. No one ever. It's just. It was not true at the time. There was no evidence to support it at the time. It's pure propaganda. And she said it. The RussiaGate hoax. For 3 fucking years, they said that he was Putin's toy.
Yes.
And that Putin had him compromised. The Steele dossier.
Steele dossier was completely fabricated by a lawyer at Perkins Coie, who was paid by the Clinton campaign. Literally.
Crazy.
And still people think the Russia hoax is real.
And there's no repercussions.
Yes.
No one had to apologize. Hillary Clinton never came out and apologized for that, and people still listen to her. The whole thing is crazy. Yeah. And it's all coming from the left, which growing up as a person who was in the left my whole life, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Same. I mean, I was on the left until like 3 years ago. I mean...
it's not the left anymore.
It's not the left anymore. Yeah. It's just like I think we obviously want. I mean, I believe like we want freedom. Like we want to maximize personal liberty. I think we want to be kind to people. We want to have empathy, but it's very important to have personal freedom and a merit-based society. And the left wants to oppress your freedoms, especially freedom of speech. And they want to have a non-merit-based society, with race-based and sex-based preferences. And it's like, well, wait a second. No, we just want people to succeed based on their skills and their hard work.
And if they don't want people to express themselves about particular issues, then they're not doing the will of the people. And if they're trying to suppress people's ability to communicate, they're only doing that because they want to do things that people don't want them to do.
Yes.
And they want to silence opposition. That's all it is. And the
100%.
fact that people can't see that and they want to call Trump a fascist, the whole thing is just through the looking glass. It's just.
I mean, it's like one hoax after another that they're perpetrating against Trump. I mean, like they try to call the rally at Madison Square Gardens like a Nazi rally. I'm like, yo, there was like literally an Israeli flag in the audience. I think like a quarter of the speakers were Jewish. Like there were people of every race, color, creed, religion at that rally. Like, tell me what about that is Nazi?
No,
and yet it was portrayed as a Nazi rally.
Well, MSNBC, they literally showed video of the Nazi rally from the 1930s and then compared it to the Trump rally. Now, ignoring the fact that fucking Jimmy Carter spoke there.
There have been dozens of political rallies at Madison Square Gardens, dozens on the Democrat side. Like people on X were like, and here's Jimmy Carter, and here's
at a Nazi
Bill
rally,
Clinton, and here's wait a second. Actually, it looks like every presidential candidate has done on the Democrat side has done a rally at Madison Square Gardens. Are they Nazis too?
But what they're doing is they're preying on low information voters who aren't engaged actively on social media, who don't have the time to look through everything. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like people are living. If people are just on looking at legacy mainstream media, then they have a totally different worldview than if they're on X and seeing the actual flow of argument.
Yes.
And the actual evidence.
Well, what was the pushback? Like, what happened when you guys released the Twitter files? Because I think the Twitter files is probably one of the most important things in this age of information for understanding the influence that government has on social media and on discourse. Because when we found out that was the case, that the government was actually asking Twitter to remove posts that were factual,
all the time.
They did the same thing to Facebook. They had them throttle pieces of one of Tucker Carlson's show. They suppressed the views by 50%.
Yeah.
Of factual information.
Yeah, no, there was